When multiplying a 3-digit by 1-digit, it's important to always keep in mind what multiplication means. So we know that when we're multiplying, we're creating 4 groups of 123. So we could represent that as having the 4 circles showing that there's 123 in each circle. That could also show us that we're really taking 123 4 times, which really means that we're adding 123 over and over and over and over again. We're looking for a total. Our number is going to get larger each time. Now, what we really want to work on is our algorithm. So it's important to remember place value when we set it up. I always want to make sure my ones are lined up, my tens, my hundreds, and think about thousands. So I like to draw the lines to have an idea of where each place value is. So I'm going to start with 3 times 4. I know it's a 3 and a 4 because it's in my ones place. So 3 times 4 would give me an answer of 12. Now when I look at the number 12, I know the 2 is in the ones place and the 1 is in the tens place. So that means my 2 is going to go in my ones place and my 1 is going to go in my tens place. So then I'm ready to keep going forward. Now that I've done 4 times 3, I'm going to go to the next place value and do 4 times 2. I can think of it as 4 times 2 even though it's really 20 times 4 because I'm using the algorithm. I know it's a 20 because it's in the 10 spot. It'll automatically go into my 10 spot. So I'll think 2 times 4 is 8, but then I also have this 1 that I grabbed from before. So I have my 8, but now I have to add that 110 that I'd already grabbed, and that's going to give me 9. So I have 9 tens, or 90. Now that I'm done with that, I can do my hundreds place, the 4 groups of 100. So I did 4 groups of 3, 4 groups of 20, now 4 groups of 100. So really, I'm just going to think of it as 4 times 1 because my answer will automatically go into my hundreds place value. And 4 times 1 gives me an answer of 4. So I'm going to put the 4 in my hundreds place. So my final answer is 492. So if we think about 258 times 3, we're thinking of 258 3 times, which is 258 plus 258 plus 258. I'm looking for a total, putting all those groups together. So again, I line everything up by place values so that I know which place value I'm talking about, so I don't have to think of that 5 as a 50. I can think of it as a 5 because it will automatically go into my tens place and be in the correct place value. So I always start with my ones. So I'm going to start with my 8 times 3. And I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So I'm looking at that number. I know the 4 is in my ones place and the 2 is in my tens. So the 4 can go in my ones column and my 2 is going to go up here in my tens column. Now I can go to my next place value. I'm really thinking of 3 groups of 5. It's really 3 groups of 50, but since it's automatically going to go into my tens place, I can just think of it as 3 groups of 5. So 3 groups of 5 would give me an answer of 15, but then I also have to remember that there's 2 tens from the last problem I did, so I have to add those 2 tens on, and that would give me an answer of 17. And then when I think about the 17, I know that that 7 is what I'm going to bring down in my tens place. And because it's really times 10, that means that 1 is 100, so that 1 is going to go into the next place value. So now I'm thinking 3 times 2, which really is a 200 because it's in my hundreds place. So I'm thinking 3 groups of 200. But I can simplify it because it will automatically go into my hundreds place value. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 is 6, plus that 100 that I had already brought over, So plus 1, and again, I know that 1 is just a 1, not a 100, because it's in my hundreds column, and then I'm going to get an answer of 7. So my answer for 258 times 3 is 774. So when I do 465 times 6, it means that I have 465 6 times, which means I'm looking for a total because I could add 465 over and over again 6 times to get my total. But we're going to use the algorithm. So remember, we always start with our ones place. I'm going to start with 6 times 5, which is 30. And if I think about the number 30, I go, what's in my ones place? That's the 0. So the 0 stays down, and the 3 goes to the tens place. Next, I'm going to go to 6 times 6, which is 36, plus the 3 that I already brought over. So 36, 37, 38, 39. And again, if I think about the 39, I'm going to write down that 9 and bring up that 3 to the hundreds place value. So it's the same thing as 2-digit, I'm just bringing it over to the next place value. So I did my 6 groups of 5, my 6 groups of 60, now I'm going to my 6 groups of 400. So I'm thinking 6 times 4, which is 24, plus those 3 that I brought over, so 24, 25, 26, 27, and since there's no place else to bring it over, I'm just going to write down my 27. That means that that 2 jumped over to the thousand spot. So I have an answer of 2,790.